the real majority leader will be elected soon, Mr. President. Mr. President, at this juncture, and just to
You mean
give
the
our
permanent,
colleagues,
permanent majority leader,
colleagues,
not
the opportunity to vote on third reading, Mr. President, may I respectfully move to consider on third reading of bills. Mr. President, the printed copies of these bills were electronically distributed to the members on May 8, 2026, in compliance with the 3-day rule in the Constitution. And so with that, Mr. President, I move to approve on third and final reading Senate Bill number 1894, this bill enhancing the Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education Act. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? There being none, consideration of Senate Bill number 1894 on third reading is in order. The Senate Secretary is directed to read the title of the bill and proceed with the voting.
Senate Bill number 1894, an act enhancing the Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education Act, amending for the purpose of Public Act number 10931. Roll call of members. Senator Aquino. Senator Cayetano Pia. Senator De La Rosa. Senator Ejercito. Senator Escudero. Senator Estrada. Senator Gatchalian. Senator Go. Senator Hontiveros. Senator Lacson. Senator Lapid. Senator Legarda. Senator Marcoleta. Senator Marcos. Senator Padilla. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Soto. Senator Tulfo Erwin. Senator Tulfo Rafi. Senator Villanueva. Senator Villar Camil. Senator Villar Mark. Senator Subiri. Senate President Cayetano Alan.
With 21 affirmative votes, 0 negative vote, 0 abstention, Senate Bill number 1894 is approved on third reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. We congratulate the authors, especially the chairperson of the Senate Committee on Higher and Technical Education, our Senate President Pro Tem, Senator Loren Legarda.
Those who want to be co-sponsors can just manifest to the majority leader.
Yeah. I think everyone, Mr. President,
Everyone who's present is already
wanted to be part of this measure.
and when it's unanimous, even those who are not sitting down there are included. So far, no. Those physically present and voted.
Just
Okay.
physically present,
Yes.
Mr.
Upon
President.
clarification of Senator Lacson.
Just
That's a good
physically
clarification.
present. And that is very clear right now. Mr. President, I move that we approve on third reading Senate Bill number 1966. This is the bill institutionalizing the assistance to individuals in crisis situation. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? There being none, consideration of Senate Bill number 1966 on third reading is in order. The Senate Secretary is directed to read the title of the bill and proceed with the voting.
Senate Bill number 1966, an act institutionalizing the assistance to individuals in crisis situations program of the Department of Social Welfare and Development, providing penalties for the violation of certain unlawful acts and appropriating funds therefore. Roll call of members. Senator Aquino. Senator Cayetano Pia. Senator De La Rosa. Senator Ejercito. Senator Escudero. Senator Estrada. Senator Gatchalian. Senator Go. Senator Hontiveros. Senator Lacson. Senator Lapid. Senator Legarda. Senator Marcoleta. Senator Marcos. Senator Padilla. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Soto. Senator Tulfo Erwin. Senator Tulfo Rafi. Senator Villanueva. Senator Villar Camil. Senator Villar Mark. Senator Subiri. Senate President Cayetano Alan.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative vote, 0 abstention, Senate Bill number 1966 is approved on third reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. We'd like to congratulate all the authors led by the chairperson of the committee, Senator Erwin Tulfo. Mr. President, the good gentleman is seeking the floor. May
Senator With the
Mr.
indulgence
President,
of Senator
before we
Tulfo.
recognize Senator
Yeah.
Erwin Tulfo, there is a
Yeah, just a point of clarification.
there's a
Yes.
point of clarification. Maybe
Senator Lacson
acknowledge
is
that.
recognized.
Yes, I would just like to be clarified, Mr. President. In what capacity is Senator Pangilinan sponsoring his a committee report tomorrow? I have a suggestion along that line. Maybe
Yes.
the body can designate him as, in holdover capacity. So he can be, officially
That's a
capacitated.
good suggestion, just to align in pursuant with Section 19.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. So if there are no objections, thank you for the suggestion, Senator Lacson. Senator Erwin Tulfo.
Thank you, Mr. President. A quick manifestation. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, as your outgoing chairperson of the Senate Committee on Social Justice, Welfare, and Rural Development, I wish to place on record my profound gratitude and deep appreciation as this August chamber approves on third reading Senate Bill number 1966 under Committee Report number 46 entitled The Assistance to Individuals in Crisis Situation, or AICS Act. This legislation goes beyond merely institutionalizing assistance. It institutionalizes the spirit of malasakit in public service. More importantly, it affirms our collective duty as a public servant to ensure that in times of hardship and uncertainty, government responds not with indifference but with urgency, compassion, and decisive action for the welfare of every Filipino. Sa gitna po ng hirap at pangangailangan, hindi dapat pinapabayaan ng ating mga kababayan. Ang tulong ng pamahalaan ay dapat mabilis, maayos at may malasakit. Mr. President, allow me to extend my sincerest gratitude to all the authors who stood behind this measure. Senator Amy Marcos, Senator Christopher Bongo, Senator Jingo Estrada, to Senator Joel Villanueva, who conveyed his intention to be made co-author of this significant bill. Thank you, Madam and Sirs. Your support reflects our shared belief that public service must always put people first. Maraming salamat po sa inyong dedikasyon at tunay na malasakit sa sambayan ng Pilipino. The significance of the AICS program becomes even more evident during periods of national and global uncertainty, when ordinary Filipinos are most vulnerable to the effects of economic disruption. Sa panahon po ng krisis, higit na naramdaman ng ating mga kababayan ang pangangailangan ng agarang tulong at tunay na malasakit mula po sa ating pamahalaan. Amid the recent tensions involving Iran and resulting volatility in global oil prices, assistance mechanism under AICS program became an important source of relief for many Filipinos, particularly in transport drivers and operators who bore the heavy burden of rising fuel costs. Sa patuloy na pagtaas ng presyo ng langis, maraming super at operator ang nahirapang maitawid po, Ginoong Pangulo, ang araw-araw na pangangailangan ng kanilang pamilya. Through timely emergency assistance and fuel subsidy interventions, our government was able to provide much-needed relief and help lighten the daily burden of those who, despite rising costs and personal sacrifices, continue to keep our communities connected, our economy moving forward. Sa pamagitan po ng agarang tulong mula sa AICS, na ipapakita po natin na ang pamahalaan may malasakit ay hindi po nagpapabaya, lalo na sa mga manggagawang patuloy na nagsasakripisyo para sa sambayanan. To the committee's technical working groups, partner agencies, and hardworking personnel behind this legislation, we thank you for transforming compassion into concrete action. To my distinguished colleagues, may we continue to craft laws that are not only responsive but humane. Law that recognizes that governance is not merely about programs and budgets, but about people, dignity, and hope. Ang pagpasa po ng AICS Act ay isang matibay na patunay na ang pamahalaan ay may malasakit, ay pamahalaang tunay na kumakalinga, handa laging umalalay, umunawa at tumugon sa pangangailangan ng bawat Pilipino sa oras po ng kagipitan. Again, Mr. President, to all the authors and supporters of the AICS Act, thank you for your unity, compassion, and unwavering commitment to the Filipino people. We stand united, no matter what political colors we have. There is no crisis too great that we cannot overcome. Muli po, maraming salamat sa aking mga kasamahan, both in the majority and minority, at sa sambayan ng Pilipino. Thank you and good afternoon, Ginoong
Well,
Pangulo.
the chair recognizes the work of the good senator in social justice and social welfare Very well taken ang manifestation, except the part that he said he will be leaving the committee. We're not yet that sure, as we recognize your work in that committee. Thank you for your manifestation. Senator,
Mr. President, next to explain her vote, especially on Senate Bill number 1894, is the distinguished lady from Antique, the chairperson of the Senate Committee on Higher and Technical Education, Senator Lauren Legarda. I move that she be recognized, Mr. President.
Mr. President, esteemed colleagues, I would like to thank all our colleagues in the unanimous vote on the free tertiary education amendments. And we know that this measure strengthens RA 10931 and ensures the promise of free and equitable tertiary education, that it truly reaches the poorest Filipino families. EDCOM 2 revealed stark gaps in the implementation of student assistance programs. Many of our most vulnerable learners continue to struggle with the rising cost of transportation, food, housing, and school requirements despite existing support mechanisms. This bill ensures that limited government resources are directed first to those who need the most, aligns allocation strictly with household income, guarantees timely inflation-adjusted support, and demands accountability for the use of public funds. Ang edukasyon ay hindi lang dapat libre, dapat ito'y makabuluhan at nagubungan ng tunay na oportunidad mula enrollment hanggang graduation at trabaho. This measure is for our students, especially the poorest, who now know that the government stands behind their dreams. Dapat laging patas ang pagbibigay ng pagkakataon sa bawat batang Pilipino na nangangarap. I would like to thank my fellow EDCOM 2 commissioners, Senator Bam Aquino, Senator Joel Villanueva, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, now Senate President, as well as Senator Pia Cayetano, Senator Christopher Lawrence Go, Senator Francis Escudero, Senator Jinggoy Ejercito Estrada, Senator Risa Ontiveros, Senator J.V. Ejercito, Senator Rafi Tulfo, Senator Robin Padilla, and Senator Kiko Pangilinan for your steadfast support. I express my deep gratitude to all who joined in advancing this measure. And just to take note that the House of Representatives had already passed this measure on third reading. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before I ask for this representation's recognition, Mr. President, our dear colleague, Senator Risa Ontiveros, is seeking the floor. May I move that she be recognized, Mr. President?
yeah, Senator Antiveros is recognized. And we thank Senator Legarda for her explanation of the vote.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Inquiry, Mr. President, in line dun sa action ng body natin regarding Senator Pangilinan on the suggestion of Senator Lacson. Two inquiries, Mr. President. For clarity, Mr. President, dahil this representation is the former chair of the Senate Committee on Women and also former chair of the Senate Committee on Health. Kanina po kasi ang conversation nga ay tungkol sa committee hearings for bills that are ready for amendments on the floor. Halimbawa itong apat, Mr. President. So, ang unang inquiry ko po, would I still be allowed to introduce the amendments as former chair in relation po to the action of the body on holdover capacity of Senator Pangilinan in his former committee, Mr. President?
So,
First inquiry.
as to introducing individual amendments as a senator, of course, that's always your right. But as to sponsoring, the majority leader and myself will be discussing all the pending bills on the floor when we go in caucus right after this, and we hope to ask for a all-member caucus by tomorrow to discuss that, but also to discuss the articles of impeachment.
Salamat, Mr. President. And this representation anticipates the response of the Senate President and the Majority Leader. Just to add one detail on the anti-hospital detention bill, ang particular status po niyan, Mr. President, is babasahin na lang yung amendments. Okay. And then, pending the decision of the body, pwede na pong i-close on second reading. Second and last inquiry for now, Mr. President, regarding the bills that are for interpellation. Because lastly, this representation is also former chair of the Senate Committee on Electoral Reforms. Bills, Mr. President, like the party list reform, the anti-political dynasty bill, and then also within the Committee on Health, the UHC Medical Assistance Program, and the Healthcare Proxy Act. So again, Mr. President, should this representation continue to sponsor and defend them on the floor, or is it correct that the leadership change has prevented this, Mr. President?
Same answer, and to be completely honest, because Senator Villanueva has not accepted the position of Majority Floor Leader, so I cannot assign him to go to the former chairpersons to get their pleasure yet, because he has only agreed to be acting floor leader. But after our caucus this afternoon, tomorrow, we should have a regular, not real, a permanent majority leader, at least until the body would like to pick someone else. No?
Maraming salamat, Mr. President, and I
we'd
know
also
that...
the chair would like to thank you for your work on the Committee on Health.
Thank you, Mr. President. And this representation knows that the Senate President is also keenly aware kung ganong katagal at katinding iniintay itong mga bills ng mga iba't ibang stakeholders at partners ng Senado, including mga children's rights advocates, syempre yung mga lahat ng pasyenteng Pilipino at mga pamilya po nila, yung ating mga barangay health workers, yung mga political reform advocates, among others, Mr. President. Salamat po, Mr. President.
Just for the answer regarding your query as far as the rules are concerned, because the author of the bill can also sponsor, a member of the committee can also sponsor, and the former chair is a member of the committee. So technically, you can. So it's just a matter of the majority leader and the new majority would like that on the floor at the moment. And again, I thank you. I thank Senator Pia, Senator Loren, Senator Bongo on your work on the Committee on Health. I was informed recently, hindi na naman nabid or hindi pa nabibid at 2 weeks ago yung flu vaccines. And meron dalawang hemisphere yan southern and northern. No? Yung sa atin, patapos na or tapos na by now, patapos na ata, hindi pa rin nabibid. So we really need the Department of Health to shape up. No? And your work during your term as chairman of the Committee on Health is appreciated. Thank you.
Mr. President, Senator Mark Villar is also seeking the floor to explain his vote. I move that he be recognized, Mr. President.
Senator Mark Villar is recognized.
Mr. President, allow me to explain my yes vote and my unyielding support for Senate Bill number 1894, or the Act Enhancing the Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education Act. Mr. President, Republic Act number 10931, or the Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education Act, was enacted to provide adequate funding and similar mechanisms to increase the participation rate among all socio-economic classes in tertiary education. While the law provides for free tuition, it does not cover the incidental expenses of studying and going to school in college. Mr. President, maraming kabataang Pilipino ang gusto makapagtapos ng kolehiyo, ngunit walang sapat na pinansyal na kakayahan upang tustusan ang pang-araw-araw na gastusin sa eskwelahan. Bagaman libre ang tuition fee, mahirap para sa ilan nating mga kababayan ang tiyakin na mayroon silang gagastusin sa pamasahe at pagkain pagpasok sa eskwelahan. Kung kaya, Mr. President, napipilitan ng marami na tumigil sa pag-aaral para magtrabaho upang tustusan ang pang-araw-araw na gastusin ng sarili at ng kanilang pamilya. Sa pag-aproba natin ng panukalang ito, wala nang estudyante ang mapipilitang magtrabaho upang tustusan ang kanilang pag-aaral. Posible na makapag-focus na sila sa kanilang pag-aaral at hindi na iisipin kung saan kukunin ang panggastos. Mr. President, this bill will narrow the gap between the objectives of the free tertiary education law and the glaring realities on the ground faced by the underprivileged and marginalized. Again, I would like to thank the distinguished lady from Antique, Senator Loren Legarda, for shepherding this bill, and of course, Senator Bam Aquino for initially championing this measure in these very halls. With the indulgence of the good sponsor, again, you mentioned it earlier, but I'd just like to reiterate that I would also like to be made a co-author of this bill. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you,
Thank you very
Senator
much,
Villar.
Senator Villar.
May I be allowed, Mr. President, just to give a very short explanation on this particular measure because this is also our pet bill, Mr. President.
If you accept the position of Majority Leader, then you can proceed.
Thank you for being considerate, Mr. President. Mr. President, we vote yes on the proposed amendments to the Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education Act. When we enacted, Mr. President, this RA 10931 during the 17th Congress, we opened the doors of higher education to millions of young Filipinos. But as the findings of EDCOM 2 have shown, access alone is not enough. Many students continue to face learning gaps, financial pressures, and other barriers that prevent them from completing their education. Now, through the work of EDCOM 2, particularly, Mr. President, in our role as chairperson of the Standing Committee on Technical Vocational Education and Training and Lifelong Learning, we have seen the urgent need to strengthen support systems for learners and make our education system more responsive to present realities. These amendments move us closer to that goal by improving the delivery and targeting of tertiary education support and ensuring that more students are not able to enter school but also complete their education successfully. Kaya, Ginoong Pangulo, hindi lamang po ito usapin ng libreng matrikula, ito po ay usapin ng tunay na oportunidad at mas magandang kinabukasan para sa ating mga kabataan. Muli, binabati natin si Senator Loren Legarda for sponsoring and defending this measure and our co-authors. For these reasons, Mr. President, and as author and co-sponsor of this measure, we reiterate our yes vote. Itaas po natin ang antas ng edukasyon sa Pilipinas. Maraming salamat po and may God bless us all. Thank you. Mr. President, Senator Risa Ontiveros is seeking the floor. I move that she be recognized.
Thank you, Majority Leader, for your explanation of vote. Senator Risa Ontiveros.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Mr. President, I vote yes to the Enhancing the Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education Act. The Free Higher Education Law transformed millions of lives, but delays in subsidies and funding gaps have failed many students and strained our SUCs and LUCs. Since 2022, my office has received complaints from students whose tertiary education subsidy arrived late or never arrived at all. Some were forced to stop schooling because they could no longer afford to stay enrolled. Hindi dapat pinapabayaan ang mga estudyanteng nagsisikap makapagtapos. This measure strengthens accountability. It requires UNIFAS to improve and speed up subsidy disbursement and establishes an accessible grievance mechanism so students can report problems and seek redress. Importante rin na sa wakas, prioridad na ang mga pinakamahihirap, lalo na ang mga pamilyang kabilang sa 4Ps. Pinalalawak din ito ang oportunidad para sa mga solo parents at persons with disabilities. Matagal nang sinasalo ng ating state universities and colleges ang kakulangan sa pondo para sa free higher education. Dahil dito, napipilitan silang bawasan ang ibang mahahalagang gastusin at tumanggi sa mga kwalipikadong estudyante. Tinutugunan ng panukalang ito ang problemang iyon sa pamamagitan ng paggarantya ng funding deficiencies sa susunod na GAA. Kung seryoso tayo sa tunay na universal access to education, kailangan nating siguraduhin na walang estudyante ang naiiwan at walang paaralan ang napapabayaan. I vote yes. Salamat po, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Ontiveros. Pag-suspend natin.
Mr. President, Senator Legarda is seeking the floor. I move that she be recognized, Mr. President.
The Senate President Pro Tempore, Senator Legarda, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, ang AICS ay isa sa pinakamahalagang tulong ng pamahalaan para sa mga Pilipinong biglaang nahaharap sa krisis, pagkakasakit, aksidente, pagkamatay ng mahal sa buhay, pagkasunog, pagkawala ng hanap buhay, at maraming iba pang matinding pangangailangan. Sa pamamagitan ng panukalang ito, binibigyan natin ang AICS ng malinaw at permanenteng batayang legal. Hindi na lamang ito aasa sa mga issuances at taunang pondo, magkakaroon na ito ng malinaw na mandato, mas maayos na sistema, mas matibay na pananagutan. Mahalaga ring maipasok natin ang mga amyenda upang mas malinaw ang data, mga privacy safeguards, mga maayos ang koordinasyon sa LGUs at mas malinaw ang ugnayan ng AICS medical assistance sa iba pang health assistance programs ng ating pamahalaan. Pinatitibay din ng panukala ang mga pananggalang laban sa pang-aabuso, sa pamumulitika, sa katiwalian, panggigipit sa mga benepisyaryo. Ang ayuda ay dapat makakarating sa nangangailangan, hindi sa pamamagitan ng palakasan, padrino o politika. Mr. President, sa oras ng krisis, ang tulong ay dapat mabilis, patas, may malasakit. Para sa ating mga kababayang nasa kaagipitan ng bawat araw ng paghihintay ay dagdag na pasanin. Kaya ako po'y nagpapasalamat kay Senator Erwin Tulfo na binigyan niya ito ng prioridad at ito ay magiging permanente ng batas at hindi na tayo aasa lamang taon-taon kung anong ilalagay ng ating pamahalaan. Dahil po dito, bumoboto ako ng oo sa panukalang institutionalization of the AICS program. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Legarda.
Mr. President,
Majority Leader.
Senator Bongo wishes to explain his vote. I move that he be recognized, Mr. President.
The Chair recognizes Senator Bongo.
Mr. President, I rise to explain my yes vote on Senate Bill 1894, a measure that seeks to amend Republic Act Number 10931 or the Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education. Ito po yung final ko naman po ay Expanded Free Tertiary Education. Ngayon po ay pinangalanan na po ito na an act enhancing the Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education Act, amending for the purpose Republic Act Number 10931. Kahit bago pa po ako naging senador, I have been a strong advocate for education at ako po'y naniniwala na ang edukasyon po'y pundasyon ng bawat kabataan at dala-dala nila ito hanggang sa kanilang pagtanda. At naniniwala po ako na ang kabataan po ang kinabukasan ng ating bayan. Noong 2017, nilagdaan po ni former President Rodrigo Duterte ang Republic Act Number 10931, naging libre po ang tuition sa ating mga state universities and colleges. Isa itong makasaysayang hakbang tungo sa mas pantay na oportunidad at mas maayos na kinabukasan para sa kabataang Pilipino. We thank the champions of this law in the 17th Congress, headed by the principal sponsor, Senator Bam Aquino, who fought it to make it possible, Senator Mig Subiri, na pinaglaban rin po ito, marami pa iba. Then Senate President Tito Soto, mga kasamahan natin dito, Senator Lacson, Senator Riza. Hindi pa po ako senador nito noon. Senator Kiko Pangilinan, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Estrada, sino pa ba? Hindi, Senator JV Ejercito, Senator Ligarda, Senator Pia Cayetano, marami pong nakipaglaban during the 17th Congress. But during cabinet deliberations, talagang meron pong kumukontra dyan ng mga finance managers. At they recommended sa presidente na i-veto po ito dahil karagdagang gasto sa gobyerno. Concerns were raised by economic managers regarding its fiscal impact. But we stood firm in our belief that free education is an investment in the future of our nation. Muntik na po itong mabito. Alam po ni Chairman Popoy de Vera yan. Ngunit nung panahon po na bilang Special Assistant to the President po ako noon, hinikayat natin ang CHED na ipaglaban at ipaliwanag ang kahalagahan ng panukalang ito. Last minute po ito na sumulat ang ating CHED Chairperson Popoy de Vera. Sabi ko, sumulat ka kay then President Duterte at makiusap ka. At dinala natin ito sa kanya. And we are grateful na nagbago po ang isip ng Executive Department. And we are grateful to former President Duterte na finally pinirmahan po niya. Dahil sabi niya, sa Davao nga po, merong free education doon. At meron siya mga scholarships program po doon kahit na maliliit. Sabi niya, mas gusto ko sa buong Pilipinas po ito mangyayari. Finally, the rest is history at naging batas po ito. Even with the Republic Act 10931 in place, we recognize many challenges in accessing education. Kaya naman po, napakahalaga ng panukalang batas na ito. We thank the sponsor, Senator Loren Ligarda, for championing this measure. Mr. President, sa panukalang ito, bago ko makalimutan si Senator Alan, nung membro po siya ng 17th Congress noon, na I'm sure sinuportahan niya rin po ito, but naging Secretary of Foreign Affairs kaya nung mga panahong yon. I don't know kung senator ka pa during that time, but membro ka po ng 17th Congress at I'm sure pinaglaban mo rin po ito. Sa panukalang ito, Mr. President, hangad natin na mabigyan ng tertiary education subsidy ang mga indigent patients. Ibig sabihin, expanded, may pagpipilian sila. Yung mga lugar na walang yung kurso na ino-offer ay hindi nila ma-avail, ay pwede itong ma-avail po sa mga private universities. Hindi lamang po ito sa mga public colleges and universities. Maaari rin po itong gamitin sa private higher education institutions, lalo na kung walang available na pampublikong paaralan sa kanilang lugar. At naniniwala po ako na ang access sa education ay susi sa mas maliwanag na kinabukasan para sa ating mga kabataan. For these reasons, I am putting on record my yes vote for the passage of this very important education measure. Salamat, Mr. President. And likewise, as one of the authors of Senate Bill number 1966, which seeks to institutionalize the assistance to individual in crisis situations. Ito po yung AIX, kilalang-kilala po ito na programa ng DSWD. I want to manifest my yes vote to the measure. Sa pag-ikot ko po sa buong bansa, I have seen families who have lost everything, homes, livelihoods, and in some cases, hope. Ang AIX ay matagal nang nagsisilbing lifeline ng ating mga mahihirap na kababayan, lalong-lalo na po sa panahong sila ay naharap sa biglaang krisis tulad ng sakuna, sunog, pagkakasakit, pagkamatay ng mahal sa buhay, aksidente at iba pang hindi inaasahang pangyayari. By institutionalizing AIX, we guarantee its continuity and enhance its ability to adapt and respond to the growing needs of our communities. Sana po wag lang gamitin sa politika ang AIX at dapat po gamitin ito sa mga mahirap nating kababayan. Klarong-klaro naman po ang AIX. Assistance to individuals in crisis situations. Ibig sabihin, yung mga mahihirap talaga. At wag sana gamitin sa pamumulitika ang ayuda at tulong sa ating mga kababayan. We congratulate and thank the sponsor, Senator Erwin Tulfo, for prioritizing this measure. With this bill, we affirm to the Filipino people that in times of crisis, the government stands ready to extend a helping hand. Maraming salamat po, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Bongo. Just on your point na sana wag magamit sa politika, and for the information of the public who have a keen eye on the Senate, actually maganda na carry over yung amendment ni Senator Lacson sa 2026 budget, yung prohibition on political involvement in the distribution of cash and other forms of financial assistance is in Section 18. Sa Section 19 naman, prohibition on the display and or a fixture of the name, image, likeness of public officials. So yung suggestion ni Senator Lacson na kineri ng body nung sa 2026 budget, nandito. Tapos may Section 20, unlawful acts. Unfortunately, ang Section 18 and 19, walang penal clause. Ang Section 20 may penal clause may penalties under Section 21. That's why if you noticed, nung nagsimula yung Iran-Israel-US war, parang may bumalik na mga logos at saka mga streamers, posters, tarpaulins na may mga muka sa ilan mga distribution. So baka pwede nating ipaalala sa lahat na the spirit of the law, kahit wala tong criminal penalties, is maybe I can use the word partisan free. 'di ba? Dapat non-partisan ang pagbibigay ng ayuda. No?
Mr. President, nalimutan ko lang po kanina. Salamat rin kay Senator Chis Escudero, Senator Angara, Senator Grace, and Senator Nancy Binay. And of course, headed by our finance Chair, Senator Loren Legarda, sila Senator Pia, na pinaglaban po itong free tertiary education. Salamat po, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Bongo.
Mr. President, before we recognize Senator Marcoleta to explain his vote, I think the chairperson of the committee, Senator Erwin Tulfo, would just like to put into the record some of the matters that is
Yes.
part of what has been discussed on the floor. Senator
Thank you.
Senator Tulfo has
Right.
both the legislative acumen, but also he served as secretary, so he knows the practical side of all of this.
Thank you,
Senator Tulfo.
Mr.
you're
President, our new majority floor leader. Nais ko lamang pong sabihin po, maraming salamat po sa pagpapaalala na doon po sa clause section 18 at 19, wala pong penalty po doon. Pagkos yan po ay plano namin na ilalagay po natin sa BICAM. Pag nagkaroon po ng BICAM na, lalagyan po natin ng penalty po yan. Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo, for that reminder.
Mr. President, I move that
Thank
we
you,
recognize
Senator.
Senator Rodante Marcoleta for his explanation of votes. So move, Mr. President.
And just a point kay Senator Tulfo, and it can be administrative dahil public officials naman ito, or it may be grounds for disqualification if they are a candidate. So thank you for your work, Senator Tulfo. Senator Marcoleta, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I voted yes in relation to Senate Bill 1966. In doing so, Mr. President, I'm also conscious of the fact that I hope we will find a more equitable way of intervention, socioeconomic intervention to the marginalized and the poorest of the poor. Kasi po, alam ko po yung AIX, while it serves as one of the interventions sa mga people in crisis situation, Mr. President, ang dami po kasing problema associated with it. Nandun po yung mga inclusive errors, nandyan po yung mga exclusive errors, kuminsan po yung mga listahan kinakailangang i-purge pa para makita natin na talagang didiretso po talaga doon sa nangangailangan. And I'm also conscious of the fact, Mr. President, that this representation has filed Senate Bill number 63, raising the coverage of the lifeline rate subsidy programs for marginalized households. Sa akin po kasing palagay, Mr. President, ito po ay, sa tingin ko lamang po ay mas mabisa sapagkat this is more equitable and it is a method by which our poorest of the poor will be targeted. Ito pong bill na ito ay tinatarget po about 5 million poor families, ranging between 25 to 27 million poor Filipinos. Kasi po ngayon ang lifeline rate, Mr. President, binago na po ng ERC from 20 kilowatt hours per month, ginawa po nilang 50 kilowatt hours. Ano pong initial po naming deliberation sa Energy Committee ng ating kasama, Senator Pia, miski siya po nabigla na yun pong 50 kilowatt per hour per month, Mr. President, ay sapat lamang po pala para pailawan ng 2 bombilya, isang electric pan, tsaka siguro isang transistor. Sabi po ni Senator Pia, ibig sabihin ba itong 50 kilowatt hours na to, wala man lang tsansa yung isang, for example, isang mother na nagtatrabaho rin sa isang kumpanya o sa isang opisina. Paano kung pamplansyahin ko man lang ang damit ko? Very basic naman ito. That's why, Mr. President, dito po sa bill na to, yung 200 kilowatt hours per month, ito po yung magiging subsidy ng ating mga households. kahit na po ipalagay natin that the monetary value of 200 kilowatt hours per month, let's say, is 2,500 pesos. Maliit kung titingnan po, but this is regular, this is consistent, targeted, dire-diretso pong pupunta sa households, wala pong corruption dahil dumidiretso nga at wala na pong EPAL. Kaya, Mr. President, bumoto po ako dito sa AIX, tama po naman yun at kailangan din, with the hope that later on we will find a better, much better, more equitable methodology to target the needy parts of our population. Salamat po, Mr. President.
The Chair agrees with you, Senator Marcoleta. There's a balance between ayuda, the financing or capitalization of micro, small, medium enterprise, between the social interventions to the poorest of the poor. We should also look at, for example, free internet for the poorest of the poor, di ba? Kasi pareho na rin ngayon ang internet sa tubig at kuryente. Pagka ang bata walang internet tapos online yung classes, parang hindi na rin nag-aral yung bata. Thank you for your interventions, Senator Marcoleta.
Yes, Mr. President. Mr. President, the gentleman from Nueva Ecija and Bicol region, Senator Robin Hood Padilla, is seeking the floor. I move that he be recognized, Mr. President.
You're recognized, Brother Robin. Assalamualaikum, and thank you for coming in a way that I do not believe that the actual manner. So there are two issues, no? Was it coordinated, which they're saying that they're disputing that. Secondly, the manner in which they carried out the order. Senator...
Mr. President, just to put on record, the parliamentary status is that Senator Padilla made a manifestation and he is about to be interpellated by Senator Marcoleta. And so we thank the gentleman for allowing our colleagues to interject. But before we say something, Mr. President, I just wanted to add to what our colleagues mentioned dahil yung mga osaan natin na nagpapakamatay for the Senate institution, Mr. President, pakita natin sa kanila, Mr. President, that we are all out in defending them. Ako po, Mr. President, nandun mismo ako doon sa Senate clinic nung dinala yung OSAA personnel natin. Mr. President, bugbog sarado siya. Dito sa video, kuha mismo ng staff ko, Mr. President, kinukuha, sinakay, pinilit isakay doon sa sasakyan. Tapos umalis. Ito, duguan na po yung ating Senate OSAA. Kaya yung totoo yung sinabi ni Senator Migs, nakausap ko si Senator JB, nakausap ko si Senator Robin, nakausap ko si Senator Jinggoy, lahat po kami talagang nagpanting ho yung tenga namin dahil, Mr. President, ito yung tao ho natin to mga kasamahan natin na nagbabantay at ginagawa lang yung trabaho. Yun pong individual na ito, Mr. President, kakaisang buwan pa lang po niya dito sa Senado. Kakatapos lang ng training niya to be part of OSAA. And yet, Mr. President, ito yung naranasan po niya sa Senate premises, Mr. President. Kaya hindi lang po yung medical treatment ang aming hinihiling, Mr. President, pati ho legal, Mr. President, ibigay natin what we can do. Because, Mr. President, kung walang magpa-file ng kaso sa mga ito, ako mismo maglilid to file cases against these people, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President, and may we now recognize Senator Rodante Marcoleta for his interpellation. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you.
May I just state, Senator Padilla, so all of this is preliminary. An investigation is going on administratively, but I urge the Committee on Rules to take charge so that we can get all of the facts, because apparently, even with just 24 senators, history repeats itself. I mean, there's been several senators arrested, attempted to be done here, and that's historical. Even during the first parliament, ginagawa ng mga harit reyna yan, hinaharas minsan, or minsan legitimate. So anyway, thank you for bringing it up, and you have the floor, Senator Padilla.
Ginoong Pangulo, gusto ko lamang pong ibalita sa ating mga kasama na naging maganda po ang responde ng Commission on Human Rights sapagkat kaninang umaga po nakipagpulong sila sa atin at nakipagpulong po sila sa USAA at kay Senator Bato de la Rosa patungkol po sa nangyari na karahasan at pang-aabuso sa karapatang pantao ng ating mga kasama dito sa Senado. Pangalawa, gusto ko lamang din pong iparating sa ating mga taong bayan na magkakaiba po ang kaso ni Senator Trillanes at Senator De Lima sa kaso po ni Senator Bato. Dahil si Senator Bato, ang warrant po niya ay hindi galing sa Pilipinas. Ang warrant po niyan ay galing sa ibang bansa, sa isang dayuhang korte. Ito po ay malayo doon sa usapin na sila, ang kustodiya po ni Senator De Lima at ni Senator Trillanes dito lang sa Pilipinas. Ito pong mangyayari kay Senator Bato ay dadalhin po sa ibang bansa. Medyo yung po pag-isipan nating mabuti. Dapat bang mangyari muli ang nangyari kay dating Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte? Dapat bang mangyari pa yan muli sa isang Pilipino? Yun lamang po, sana alam natin ang pagkakaiba ng warrant galing sa Pilipinas at warrant sa isang korte lang ng ibang bansa. Yun po, maraming salamat po.
Point of order, Mr. President. Point of order, Mr.
We were going to recognize Senator Marcoleta, but this is a point of order,
Yes.
so we recognize
Yes,
Senator
Mr.
Pangilinan.
President, my understanding is this matter was already referred to the Committee on Rules. And any on all such manifestations should have been referred to the Committee on Rules.
Senator Pangilinan, Senator Lacson gave several privileged speech, even if the matter was already referred to the committee report.
I
So,
understand, Mr.
as a matter of tradition,
I understand, Mr.
we allow that.
Ginoong Pangulo, nilabas yung warrant of arrest kagabi lang, tapos na tayo dito.
Yeah.
I
Yes, that's why
understand.
this.
Na sinabi po na yung warrant of arrest ay tunay.
I understand, Mr. President, and therefore I'm appealing that perhaps this matter should be tackled in the committee rather than in this in plenary so that we can address other concerns, Mr. President.
The appeal-
And
the
for the
appeal-
record,
Pa- Paano natin pag-uusapan yung ibang...
And for the record, Mr. President, I still have the floor. And for the record, Mr. President, we voted against resolution number 44. So to say that we have this resolution, yes, but there are senators who voted against it, and therefore it is not necessarily our agreement with the points being raised by the good senator from Camarines Norte.
For the record, Senator Padilla did mention a while ago that he doesn't take it against, and he acknowledges that some senators voted against it, and it's on the record. Having said that, the appeal is noted, but I just like to mention that we usually give each other leeway depending on the importance of the matter, and the threat to Senator Bato is live. There's been no official communication that he is free until a Philippine court issues a warrant of arrest. No? So I ask the patience of each member, but acknowledge the statement and the interpretation, the proper interpretation of the rules by Senator Pangilinan. So you
May we ask
proceed,
Senator Marcoleta, Mr. President?
Yes, Senator Marcoleta,
He's
you're
been
now
waiting for
recognized.
quite a while.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Kahapon pa po ako naghihintay. Ang dami na po kasing nagsalita. Sana po kung sino naman yung nauna na nagsabi, pakiunan nyo naman po. Sa akin lang po, nagpo-point of order po tayo, pero tayo rin naman po nagbabiolate ng ating patakaran. Nangyari po kasi yung nangyari kahapon, Mr. President, sa unang kasaysayan, sa kasaysayan ng institusyong ito. Nakita ko po, Mr. President, kung paano ginawa ng mga NBI yung ating pasukan. Gumawa po sila ng checkpoint. Sa akin pong palagay, magmula po nung panahon ng Philippine Assembly, hanggang ngayon, wala pa pong nangyaring gano'n. Dahil po sa respeto sa tatlong dakilang nagkakahating bahagi ng ating pamahalaan, ang executive, legislative, at saka yung judiciary. Ngayon lamang po nagkaroon ng ganitong insidente kung paano niyurakan ang dangal ng institusyon na tayo pa po ang naririto. Mr. President, gusto ko po sanang magtanong ng ilang mga bagay sa ating kasama, sa kanyang mga tinuran na pangyayari, kaugnay po ng tangkang paghuli kay Senator Bato.
Ginoong Pangulo, mas maganda pong makatanggap tayo ng mga katanungan sa ating kasamang kahapon pa nag-aantay.
Salamat po, Mr. President.
Please proceed unless you want to postpone that till tomorrow.
Mr. President, Your Honor, kanina po ay marami rin pong gustong magtanong sa akin ng mga miyembro ng press. Bagamat tinangka ko po na wag munang umarap sa kanila dahil minsan po, imbes na makapag-clarify ka, lalo pong dumadami po ang mga issues. Kaya ako na pong nagpilit na parang iniiwasan ko na po. Kaya lang, hindi mo po maiwasan. Sa dami po nila, talagang hahabulin ka po. Ang una po nilang tanong sa akin, Sir, ipa-aresto niyo po ba si Senator Bato? So sagot ko po, Mr. President, tanong din. Ikaw, kayo, gusto niyo ipa-aresto? Ang sagot sa akin, hindi po, kayong tinatanong namin kasi kayo po ang nandito. Hindi, tinatanong ka rin kita. Kasi Pilipino ka. Gusto mo bang makita ang isang senador na ibinoto ng sambayanang Pilipino? Aaresto sa loob mismo ng Senado? Hindi po. Okay, kung ikaw hindi, di lalo na ako. Kayo po ba'y na-interview rin ng ganun?
Opo.
Sir President?
Nakakagulat po sapagkat ako po din mismo, mahal na kasama at idolo namin, Senator Marcoleta. Nagtataka din po ako sapagkat marami po sa mga tanong sa ating ibinabato. Parang tayo pa ay may kasalanan sa pagbibigay natin ng masasabing lugar sa ating kasama dito sa Senado. Samantalang meron naman po tayong adopted resolution number 44. Ako po'y nagtataka talaga bakit ang mga tanong ay para bang tayo ay harboring kagad ng kriminal.
Ginoong Pangulo, Your Honor, yung nangyari po kahapon, mas naniniwala po ako sa dating Pangulo natin, Senator Soto, sa kanyang sinabi. Nung tinanong ko po siya kahapon, habang nagmimerienda po tayo, nung tayo nakasuspindi pa, sabi ko, Mr. SP, nung pinuntahan ka ba ng NBI, pinakita sa'yo yung warrant of arrest? Nakita mo ba? Hindi, sabi niya. Ako po naniniwala na talagang hindi nila ipinakita yung warrant of arrest sa ating dating Pangulo ng Senado. Ang ating pong miyembro ng press, Mr. President, mahilig lang silang tanong ng tanong Pero yung basic yun ang ayaw nilang tanungin Halimbawa si Trillanes, winawagayway niya, ito ay kayong warrant of ayaw man lang. Bakit hindi nila suriin? Pwede po bang makakuha ng kopya niyan? Kasi po kahapon, Sir President, Your Honor, nung makausap natin ng NBI Director, pwede mo ba kaming bigyan ng kopya ng warrant of arrest? Pwede mo rin ba kaming bigyan ng communication between the ICC and the Interpol? Sapagkat ang Interpol, ang karaniwang ginagamit po nila para i-execute yung warrant ng kanilang in-issue. Yan namang Interpol, gagamitin po niya yung counterpart dito sa ating bansa, ito po yung PCTC. So sabi ko, bigyan mo rin kami ng communication mula sa Interpol papunta sa PCTC. At mula sa PCTC, meron silang sulat din sa inyo at kayo nga ang dineputize para iserve yung warrant of arrest kay Senator Bato. Maliwanag po yung sagot niya, Mr. President, Your Honor. Opo. Gusto ko po sanang itanong, Mr. President, kung nag-comply na yung NBI Director na yung ating hinihingi ng mga communications para mapagtibay natin kung talagang meron ngang in-issue, kung totoo nga po na merong warrant of arrest at hindi lang ginawa sa Claro M. Recto, para po lahat ay guided.
Yes.
Naibigay na po ba?
So number one, Senator Marcoleta, I apologize to you. You were present and in fact, you made very good points to the NBI director. Number two, tama po kayo. He promised to officially communicate the warrant, and I told him he is welcome to serve the warrant. The issue is the actual arrest. So I asked my staff as to my office, wala. To our secretariat, may na-receive ba tayo from the NBI? Wala pa.
So,
Yeah, wala pa.
Mr. President, Your Honor, doon lamang po sa simpleng requirement natin, dahil nung gabing yun, ang sabi niya, hindi lang niya dala, nasa sasakyan niya. So hindi na natin siya pinilit, dahil yung sasakyan niya nasa labas. Pero, Mr. President, Your Honor, alas 5 na po eh. Yung po bang mga requirements na yun, simpleng-simple po para matukoy lang natin kung talagang merong warrant of arrest. Bakit hindi po hanggang ngayon ay naibibigay ng NBI na sila pala, allegedly, ang dineputize ng kung sino-sino na iserve ang warrant of arrest sa ating kasama? Bakit po? O baka nga po wala eh. Ito yung pinaka-problema. Ang dami pong kumakalat na issue sa labas, tinatago raw natin, meron pa pong nagsabi kung sino-sino na yung pagkup-kup daw po natin, yung ginamit natin, yung inadapt nating resolution number 44, sabi ni Trillanes, obstruction of justice. Yan po yung mga pinagsasasabi nila. Your Honor, alam niyo po ba yung statement ng Permanent Mission of the Republic of the Philippines sa United Nations noong 79th session of the UN General Assembly?
Ba, napakaganda po yan. Mas maganda po, basahin niyo po sa amin.
Kasi hindi mo pa alam, di ba?
Opo.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Ito po kasi may kaugnayan sa pinag-uusapan natin eh. Ito pong 79th session of the UN General Assembly ay may kinalaman po sa pagde-define ng scope and application of the principle of universal jurisdiction. Ito po yung naganap, Mr. President, on October 16, 2024. Kasi po, bilang tayo po ay permanent member ng United Nations, tinanong po nila yung ating posisyon. Paano ang pagkakaintindi mo sa principle kanya and application of universal jurisdiction? Ang sabi po ng Pilipinas, Mr. President, Your Honor, kami po sabi niya the general rule is that jurisdiction is territorial. Universal jurisdiction is an exception grounded on the need to preserve international order. Tama naman po yun eh. Ang pinag-uusapan po na, sinight po ng ating gobyerno, Mr. President, yung Section 17 ng Republic Act number 9551. At sinasabi po nila doon, sabi po ng ating permanent mission, Section 17 of RA number 9851 specifically provides for the Philippine jurisdiction over persons, whether military or civilian, suspected or accused of a crime defined and penalized under Republic Act 1951, regardless where the crime is committed. Sa mga tweet, tayo na po ang nagsabi sa United Nations na tayo po yung merong jurisdiction. At sinama pa nga po yung Section 18 na kung saan ang Regional Trial Court po ang merong jurisdiction. Primary and exclusive jurisdiction. Kanina po, Mr. President, Your Honor, binanggit po ninyo, yung warrant of arrest kasi kanya galing sa korteng hindi sa domestic nanggaling. Nanggaling naman talaga raw sa ICC. Ipagpalagay na po natin, Mr. President, na totoo nga at hindi peke yung warrant of arrest, kunwari valid. Ang sinasabi po ng ating batas, Mr. President, isasagawa mo lang ito sang-ayon or in accordance with the extradition laws and treaties obtaining in this country. Mr. President, wala po tayong extradition treaty sa ICC. For the simple reason that ICC is not a country. Wala rin po tayong treaty sapagkat nag-withdraw na po natin. Nag-withdraw na po tayo sa ICC. O paano niya po i-apply yung kanilang warrant of arrest? Ang jurisdiction po ay atin na. Mr. President, Your Honor, on May 10, 2026, ang ating kasama, Senator Bato, was served a subpoena by the CIDG for the alleged crime of EJK. Ano pong ibig sabihin nun, Mr. President? Yung pag-serve po ng-subpoena, na-operationalize na po, active na po yung kaso kahit nasa investigative and prosecutorial stage pa lang. Ibig sabihin, our National Prosecution Service is already actively on the case. Paano po papasok ang ICC? The core function of the ICC, Mr. President, is under the principle of complementarity. Ibig sabihin, kung meron pong local court na gumagawa na po ng kanilang tungkulin, wala na pong pakialam ang ICC. Nang nangyari po, aktibo na pong pinupurso ang kaso, allegedly, EJK sa ating kasamahan. Papasok pa uli ang ICC. Sarili po ba nilang prinsipyo ay kanilang babaliwalain? Papayag ka pa doon, Mr. President, Your Honor?
Ay, hindi po tayo dapat pumayag. At katunayan nga po, katulad po ng sinasabi ng ating ibang kasama na ito daw ating pinag-uusapan, ay wala daw itong kwenta. Napaka-imposible po nun. Sapagkat itong ating pinag-uusapan, katulad po ng sinasabi ninyo, ay soberenya ito ng Pilipinas. Kung sa paniwala po nila, ay hindi. Pero sa paniwala po natin, sayang yung bandila na yan kung tayo po ay magpapasakop sa isang korte lamang na hindi naman isang bansa at uutusan tayo na isuko ang isang senador sa kanila.
Salamat po sa inyong sagot, Mr. President, Your Honor. At nung tinangka po nila na mag-serve daw ng di umano ay warrant of arrest, Mr. President, bakit po ang nagsisilbing process server ay si Antonio Trillanes?
Sheriff po siya ngayon yata ng ICC.
Meron po ba kayong impormasyon na si po ay naglilingkod na sa ICC o sa Interpol, Mr. President, Your Honor?
Siguro po, action speaks louder. May dala po siyang warrant, so sheriff.
Kung totoo na meron siyang dalang warrant.
Yun po. Opo, pag napatunayan po na yun ay warrant of arrest, sheriff na po siya.
Kailangan pong malaman natin kung siya ay process server, sheriff, o deputized officer ng ICC o ng Interpol. At kailangan tawagin din po natin, Mr. President, ang representasyon ng Philippine Center for Transnational Crime sapagkat sila po yung counterpart ng Interpol. Pagka po bypass nila yung opisina na yon, maliwanag na maliwanag po, peki po yung warrant of arrest, Mr. President. At peki din po yung nagseserve ng warrant of arrest. Naniniwala po ba kayo?
Hanggat hindi po natin nakikita ang kopya na yan, lumalabas po na peki yan.
Mr. President, Your Honor, alam niyo po ba yung bilateral immunity agreement sa pagitan ng United States of America at ng ating bansa?
Alam ko po yan, nasa Quran po yan.
Nasaan po?
Nasa Quran po.
Ang binabanggit ko po ay ang nasa paragraph 2 ng Bilateral Immunity Agreement.
Kaya ako po sinabi nasa Quran dahil ang sabi po sa Quran, kapag yung bagay na hindi mo alam, itanong mo sa nakakaalam. Pakisabi po. Opo.
Hindi po, tinatanong ko lang naman po kung alam ninyo kasi kung alam na ninyo, hindi na po ako magtatanong.
Di po, kaya ipaalam nyo na po sa amin.
Ayan. Mr. President, ito pong sinasabi kong ito, may kinalaman na naman po kasi. Malaki ang kinalaman sa ating pinag-uusapan ngayon. Dito po kasi sa paragraph 2 nitong Bilateral Immunity Agreement na ito, na ginawa noong May 13, 2003, minsan po itawagin ito na Non-Surrender Agreement. Sinasabi po rito na ang isang citizen ng isang partido, ibig sabihin ng Amerika, na nandito sa ating bansa, ay hindi mo pwedeng isurrender o i-transfer by means o sa isang international tribunal for any purpose unless such tribunal has been established by the United Nations Security Council. Ano po ang ibig sabihin nun, Mr. President, Your Honor? Yung ICC po kasi, hindi po established international tribunal ng UN Security Council. Kaya nga po, kung mapapansin nyo, Mr. President, Your Honor, ang Amerika at saka ang Russia, hindi partido ng ICC. Wala silang, ayaw nila yan. Kinamumuhian nila yan. Dito po sa agreement na ito, tayo po, ang bansa natin, may katungkulan na hindi niya isusurrender ang isang Amerikano. Militar man yan, civilian, o no, nang walang consent yung Amerika. Ano po yung ironical implication nito, Mr. President? Tayo po pumayag sa pagitan ng kasunduang ito na ipagmamalasakit natin ang isang Amerikano na nandito sa ating bansa, hindi siya pwedeng i-transfer o surrender sa ICC sapagkat yan ay hindi recognized ng UN Security Council. Pero tayo, senador, Pilipino, meron siyang mandato sa ating mga mamamayan. Hindi ba kabalintunaan ito, Mr. President, Your Honor?
Opo. Tama po kayo. Yan po ay ibinoto po yan ng taong bayan. Katulad po ni Senator Bato. 20 million po ang bumoto dyan.
Kaya ko lang po tinatanong, Mr. President, hindi ko po lubos na maisip, tayo pala kaya nating ipagtanggol ang hindi isang Pilipino, kahit hindi Pilipino, dahil lamang nakipagkasunduan tayo. Pero sarili nating kapwa Pilipino, may mandato sapagkat nagsisilbing senador ng ating bansa. Hindi natin kayang ipagtanggol. Ito po yung irony na napakahirap siguro natanggapin ng bawat isang Pilipino. Tama po kayo eh. Ang warrant of arrest po ay galing sa ICC. Ang kaso po ni Senator Trillanes ay iba sapagkat ang nag-issue ng warrant of arrest ay sarili nating korte na kailangang igalang. Ganon din po ang warrant of arrest na inisyo kay dating Senador Laila de Lima. Pero ito'y natatangi po eh. Kung totoo po na yun, ay talagang totoong warrant of arrest. At yun ay nakabase sa saligan mismo, ang Rome Statute. Bakit hindi muna nila unang basahin, Mr. President, yung Article 59 ng Rome Statute, na kung saan sinasabi ron, yung aarestuhin mong tao, kailangan madaliin mong ilagak sa isang competent judicial authority ng custodial state. Ano ang custodial state? Yung ating bansa. Bakit po kailangan yon? Maski ang ICC, kinikilala niya yun. Dahil meron pong mga prosesong dapat na mapagtibay. Una, kailangan malaman natin kung yung warrant of arrest aplikable doon sa tao na yun. Dito lang, sa pinag-uusapan natin, hindi aplikable kay Senator Bato. So meron siyang recourse para questionin yung warrant of arrest. Kaya importante na ilagak mo siya sa isang competent judicial authority. Ang isa pang kinakailangan mong maisaalang-alang doon, Mr. President, Your Honor, ay kailangan yung proseso ay naigalang lahat. At lalong-lalo na yung kanyang karapatan ay talagang nasinop. Yun po yung inihingi nun eh. At ang isa pa po, meron siyang karapatan na magpetisyon kung sakaling yung custodial state na yon ay i-detain yung na-aresto, na magpetisyon ng immediate release or provisional release. Lahat ng ito ay hindi magagawa, Mr. President, Your Honor, kung kikilalanin natin yung warrant of arrest na valid sa ating jurisdiction. Meron po siyang katapat na batas eh. Meron tayong local na batas, RA 9851, na humahatol at nagbibigay parusa sa mga ganun ding mga kasalanan na siya din naman ang nililitis ng ICC. So sa prinsipyo po ng complementarity, Mr. President, maliwanag po na nasa jurisdiction na po ng ating lokal na mga hukuman ang pag-aasunto kung meron ng basihan sa ating kasama. Hindi na dapat kilalanin yung ICC sapagkat ang batayan lang nila ay yung tinatawag na principle of complementarity. Malinaw po na nangunguna po, may primary po jurisdiction ang ating lokal na korte. Exclusive and primary jurisdiction, yun po importante. Ngayon, yung pong mga nagkukunwa na process server, nagkukunwa na sheriff, nagkukunwa kung ano man sila ng ICC, kung bayaran sila o hindi, dapat po tingnan muna nila lahat yung mga bagay na pinag-uusapan natin. Bago nila puntahan ang isang institusyon katulad nito, nahahabulin pa yung isa sa atin. Ang pangyayari po kahapon, uulitin po natin, Mr. President, kailanman po ay hindi nangyari sa kasaysayan ng institusyong ito. Tinanong ko pa nga po kahapon sa ating director ng NBI dahil pinipilit niya. Kaya po nung papunta na, kung makakapasok po si Senator Bato sa session hall, ay wag nyo na siyang tutugisin. Para bang ang parte lamang ng Senado, Mr. President, ay itong session hall. So nung tinanong ko, bakit po yung parking area namin na kung saan nagsimula ang habulan at saka yung mga hagdanan na hindi ba parte ng institusyong ito? Sir, sabi niya, hindi naman po kami magiging ganito kung hindi po kami nakipag-coordinate. Hindi po ako naniniwalang nakipag-coordinate sila ng totohanan, Mr. President. Mas naniniwala po ako sa ating former President na hindi niya papayagan kung alam lamang niya ang kanilang balak na pagdakip at pamamaraan ng pag-iinsulto sa bulwagang ito, Mr. President. Maraming salamat po, Your Honor.
Maraming salamat po. Madam President? Madam President? Opo.
Senator Padilla, please proceed. Yes.
Opo. Meron lang po akong mga konting katanungan sa inyo. Sapagkat gusto ko po sanang ireklamo si Senator Pangilinan sa pagsigaw. Meron po ba siya rules natin na sinasabing pwede mong sigawan ng kapwa mo senador?
Narinig ko yung malakas na boses ni Senator Kiko Pangilinan
Mis-
Alam ko na si Senator Pangilinan ay dating galing sa broadcasting, baka nag-modulate. Maari po ba tayo'y mag-suspend muna para pag-usapan yung malakas na boses at wari pagsigaw ni Senator
Excuse me,
Pangilinan?
nasa akin
President,
po
iba
yung
ang
floor.
usapin.
Senator Padilla has
excuse
the
me.
floor. The chair is answering the question of Senator Padilla. Session is suspended.